New WrestleMania 39 matches have been leaked. There have been a lot more cuts in WWE offices, and an NXT star was cut from the Royal Rumble match. Stay tuned and find out who. Dave Meltzer letting it all slip in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He's reported a few matches that we didn't know were necessarily happening at WrestleMania. And pretty big ones as well, pretty big ones. So obviously, we've got Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's title. We've got Belair versus whoever wins the Women's Chamber match, the number one contenders match there for the Raw Women's title. We have got Reigns versus Rhodes. We know about all of those. But he has let slip here that John Cena versus Austin Theory is going to be happening, and it's described as locked in as well.
It's massive, that.
Yeah, it's really, really big. There's no word.
People have been talking about it for a long time so far, so hopefully it's,
There's no word if this is going to be for the US title. Obviously, the US title is on the line in a chamber match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I actually think that, this match is big enough, obviously, without that belt on the line. And
sure.
At the same time, do you want that belt on the line because Cena has such a history with the US title? Perhaps.
If you can make him win against his will and keep him in a production truck so he can never go back to Hollywood, think of the stories.
Reverse screw job finish, so John Cena has to stick around.
Austin Theory just straight away.
I don't know where this is going. I really, really don't. It'll be a banger of a match. Austin Theory's obviously been calling out Cena in various ways for a long, long time now.
Sort of the back and forth in the promo game is going to be really good in the build-up to this.
It should be great. Yeah. And Austin Theory as well was described by many people. Apparently Vince McMahon himself saying that he sees Austin Theory as the next John Cena as well. So that's pretty big. It'll be great to see Big Match John there, especially if we're not getting Dwayne.
Yeah, a bit of a passing of the torch.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. I think Cena should win. If it's not for the US title, I think Cena should win, and I think there should be a rematch down the line.
Look, it's a big feel-good moment, and it's in his probably new home market of Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll probably get a few people disagreeing with that, obviously, saying, hey, Cena should pass the torch, the young guy should go over. But this isn't going to be Cena's last match, and I think they can do it again. So I think Cena should come back and win this time, if the US title's not on the line.
It's the type of thing, you could treat almost like an exhibition, and then if you were to circle back to it later and you've got Cena being like, I have the win over you, then you can build to something nice like that.
Yeah, totally. I don't think there's any harm. No damage is going to be done by losing to Big Match John. At the same time, there's a lot to gain if he were to beat Big Match John. So the other match that he's mentioned here involves Ronda Rousey. We weren't even sure if we were going to get Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, but apparently the planned match, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, is Io Sky and Dakota Kai taking on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team titles.
Which I'm all about. Just keep Ronda and Shayna together. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I like that. I really, really like that pairing. I think that could be really great. You know what? I'm really just happy that it seems that Ronda Rousey isn't going to be in a women's title picture.
Yeah.
I'm chuffed with that.
I think that it's not super surprising that she's going to be there considering it's WrestleMania.
Singles women's title picture.
Yes.
Sorry. You know what I mean?
But I think that, it's an interesting position to be in. Yeah. I guess on the card, we've not really seen Ronda in much sort of high-profile tag action. She obviously had her first big entry into the company in that manner. So
I don't want to say look at how far she's fallen, but the excitement felt when they had the Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon match was so good, and it was like, oh man, Rousey really gets this.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to say everything since, but certainly the last year or so, maybe a little bit longer, has been a little bit underwhelming on the Rousey front. She had some real stinkers last match. No disrespect to Shotzi, but they had one of the worst matches of the year on pay-per-view, at least, last year. Maybe the tag thing will be good. I think that'll be good for her. Maybe she's a person that thrives in tag matches.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And at the same time, I'm just sort of happy that Shayna's getting a featured spot potentially here as well, because she's somebody I feel, since coming up to the main roster, it's not that they've dropped the ball, it just sort of feels like they forget about her.
I think they have dropped the ball.
And it's just like, I don't know whether it's deliberate or not, but I just want more for Shayna. She's brilliant.
She is so good. Yeah. You think back to NXT Shayna, this vicious nutter.
And it's like, that's what we should be seeing still.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. She should be really, really dominant. They've got a bit of a habit of doing it, like they did it with Asuka, didn't they? Obviously,
Yeah.
as well. Asuka, massive undefeated streak and everything in NXT. She comes
Charlotte
up,
was
Charlotte, yeah, of course. Yeah. Anyway, sad news. WWE have held some office cuts. Meltzer again. There have been a lot more cuts on the corporate side in these past few weeks in different departments since the return of Vince McMahon. The belief is that these cuts are being made to lower the cost to get the company ready for a sale. Matthew Drew, who was the senior vice president of International, was the biggest name let go. It's always sad to hear this stuff. Obviously, these cuts there have been an awful lot of cuts, both on the talent side and behind the scenes as well. Mm-hmm. And totally, you tighten things up pre-sale. We know that the sale is likely happening. They're looking at the sale or acquisition or whatever they're calling it, because they don't want to say sale. And it's always just sad to hear people hear about people losing their jobs. It's not nice, is it?
No, not at all.
Not nice at all. So best of luck to anybody who's been let go by WWE, of course. Speaking of cuts, an NXT star cut from the Royal Rumble. So we saw a few NXT names in the Rumble, but one name that was noted by Fightful as being a late cut was Ivy Nile. So I actually think the Women's Royal Rumble was one of the better Women's Rumbles, because I think it relied way less on stars of old.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Kelly.
No, but I think that it was strange with the Women's Rumbles, because the roster felt like it had been stripped back so much that there was nothing you could really do, because it wasn't really a time where NXT was being featured quite heavily, in situations like that. So there was nothing you could really do. And obviously it's huge feel-good moments when you have a lot of former stars returning, but when it makes up like half the field, it's a little bit like, whew.
That's it. It really shines a light on the perceived lack of depth of the women's roster, doesn't it? So obviously Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, Indy Hartwell getting the nod. They weren't cut, and they all had decent showings and everything. Ivy Nile, maybe it'll be her year next year. You got to imagine that Indy Hartwell, we talked about this yesterday, but will be on the main roster sooner rather than later. Also, in that Rumble match, we saw the return of Nia Jax at number 30, coming out a little bit early. She didn't want to keep the fans waiting, and you've got to respect her for that. Didn't even wait for the countdown. I really appreciated that, because it was great to see her.
She just means business.
Yeah, she does. She does. So Nia Jax has revealed, basically, like when she found out that was going to be going on when she was asked, she appeared on Sign It Live for High Spots, where she was asked if she knew ahead of time about her Rumble appearance. She said, "No, I did not." And regarding her gear, she said, "I had it very quickly rushed," so it was a very last minute thing. Nia hadn't wrestled since November 2021.
Yeah, since her release, and that's all thanks to Wrestling Entertainment Series, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
She could have been wrestling in Nottingham.
Yeah.
The Motor Point Arena.
So she had a t-shirt released for it, but I imagine that was pretty rushed as well. PW Insider breaking the news yesterday that Nia was not backstage. We didn't see her on the show. We didn't see her on Raw. So it looks like it was just one and done.
Yeah, it was sort of...
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I just think the initial reaction was obviously with Nia being such a recent star with the company that was, she must be back. But I still don't know. I don't think the WWE and Nia's done. I think we will see Nia return at some point, because, she's a familiar face.
The fans want her back.
But I think that, I don't know. There's something here where it just feels like maybe there's been a pin put in it, and it's not quite done.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why, but...
well, we will see, won't we? Finally, Meltzer has awarded his star ratings for the Rumble. So an interesting one, because something that isn't a match got a 5-star rating. You'll never guess what. So we'll go through these really, really quickly. Obviously, one man's opinion and all that. Like, make up your own star ratings. It's fun. It's wrestling. The Men's Royal Rumble getting 4.25 stars. Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight.
Like a snooker player.
Jimmy White
stepping up.
Got 3.25 stars, which I think is fair. Alexa Bliss versus Bianca got 1.5. Women's Royal Rumble 3.5.
It got 3/4 stars, not 3.25.
What did I say? 3.25? No, 3/4. No, it didn't. Dave hasn't gone completely mental. It got 3/4. Sorry, no. Dave off the deep end. Kevin Owens
sitting there shaking with his Mountain Dew.
That was fantastic. That elbow drop that went missed by a mile. And Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns getting 3.5 stars. Thank you for catching that, Sam, because that would have been mad. And finally, the one that got 5 stars is the Bloodline Sami Zayn angle at the end of the show. It's a 5-star. Yeah, it's just the best, isn't it? It's just the best.
I just felt like a kid watching it back. Like I got excited, I got into it. I just sort of zoned everything out. It
was the best, isn't it?
Awesome.
I can't speak highly enough of it. It's just so much fun to watch. Sam, that is our second news video of the day done. We got a list going live this evening. Again, shorts going live tomorrow. Sam is kicking things off with our first short ever. Very exciting. And we got a timeline for last year going live tomorrow as well. Sam, give us a kiss. Oh, isn't that nice? That's our outro. See you in a bit.